Hello everybody and welcome to Nailed Him. Today we are going to be we're going to be making some pretty pictures on a nail. We're just starting with the background. Well, it's actually just one pretty picture. And just starting with a black background to get a nice solid base going first. I'm basically making a night sky, so I really like to use glitters when I use night skies or normal skies because they have teeny tiny little glitter particles and those look like stars and stuff. And I wanted to add a little bit of white, and I was just being my little artistic hippie self and putting it on with my finger. You can put it on with a brush or a sponge or whatever you have around. And I haven't cured any of these layers. I am just kind of layering them on, and I am going to just kind of mix them all together. Make them look like galaxies. Bona fide galaxies. So I went ahead and cured those layers. Well, that layer. And I just added some white because I am going to kind of fade that out, as you can see, to make it look like a little bit more of a contrast when I put the black color on top of that. Just feathering it out real nice. Alright, so here we are going in with the Iron Giant's body shape. So I'm just making the initial shapes first, and then I'll kind of go back through and adjust all of it and make the teeny details, the minute details. So before I do the minute details, I just added a little bit more black so it was a little bit more solid. I said a little bit more way too many times already. And I'm just making the little half squares that kind of come out and make his robotic body shape, because we're basically just doing the silhouette, right? We're not doing any details and any of that. So this is all just the top part of his body. And a lot of black colors or dark colors, especially with gel, tend to feather pretty quickly. So you'll see I do, well, you don't see me do it, but I will tell you to do it, that I cure them in stages. Because as I've said in some of my other videos, you don't want it to feather too much when you've worked really hard on all those details. So I cured that, and then I'm going to go in the little hinges on the top parts of his legs. These are his robo hips, everybody. Shake those robo hips, Iron Giant. So I'm just trying to make his legs skinny as can be because this part goes a little bit wider down at the bottom. And typically when I'm doing a big part like the bottom of his legs, I'll just drag my color around so that I get the general shape, and then I will add color to make it a little bit more dense later. You'll have to excuse my band-aid, ladies and gentlemen. I was deep sea diving, and there was Aquaman, and he told me to get out of his domain, so I punched him in the face. So just that one finger got hit. So I went ahead and cured that off camera, obviously. I'm going to go in and do the joints of his shoulders and kind of just the same premise. And the key with making really small lines, even if you have a bigger brush, is just your pressure. Because if you use really light pressure, you'll be able to just barely touch the nail with the tip of the brush, and so those teeny little bristle endings will be able to make your little lines, and then if you press a little harder, then it'll make thicker lines because it'll be more of the brush that's down on the nail. There we did his whole arm and his nail, and again, because those details are so tiny, I cured that before I moved on to this next step. And this hand kind of hangs behind his moving leg, because that leg is up like he's walking. So I'm just kind of grazing through that, trying to imagine what the silhouette would look like. Now I'm going to go ahead with the head. And because, like I said multiple times before, gel creeps. Because gel creeps, I typically tend to do the bigger parts first, because those are typically okay if they move and creep a little bit, whereas the little lines, the teeny lines, you want those to move the least amount as possible.
This is a really good Voltron, babe.
Incorrect. You can see where I'm working with the head. You can see where I press down more, and I want more spread of the product because I push down and I use more pressure on my brush. What do you think this part is that I'm drawing, that I'm painting?
The head chassis that the Voltron riders assemble in?
Incorrect. Okay, now I'm going to do his eyes. A lot of times when I have colors that like yellows or greens that are like neon-y, is that a word? It is now. I will do a layer of white and cure it before I do that layer because it just makes it brighter. Because if I were to go in just with the yellow onto the black, then it would look nowhere near as yellow and bright and pretty. And pretty, it's so pretty. So now I'm doing a layer of top coat. And I wipe in between, wipe off in the bottle so that there's not too much gel product. You're going to push it as close to where you made your original base coats so that it's all cohesive and it stays really long.
Do you know the important saying that you have to say when this nail's finished?
What is the most important saying?
Voltron, Avengers assemble.
Who taught you things?
Comic-Con.
Incorrect. Alright, and there is the finished product. Thank you so much for watching. And we will see you next time.
And put down in the comments below if you have any nail requests.